Alright guys, I'm gonna do a video talking about a franchise that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, and I just had an inkling to do it, and I wrote down some notes so I don't forget anything. I usually don't write down notes in my videos, but there's a lot of stuff to like cover about this topic I want to talk about, and I usually don't write down notes. So if I look down like this, that's why, because I'm reading off my notes. Um, thank God I can read my own handwriting, but um, anyway, but if you do like this video, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe and click that notification bell so you get notified when I upload new videos. And hopefully YouTube doesn't mess up the last X-Men video that I did because it was stuck in processing for like forever, so I just said screw it and uploaded it. So hopefully that video turned out okay. Hopefully this one does too. Anyway, I want to talk about the Wolfenstein franchise. And you guys are probably thinking, why am I talking about Wolfenstein? Um, I don't know. I just had a thought the other day. I was like, you know what? It's been like a while since they've announced any kind of like Wolfenstein game. It's been like um almost 3 years. That's a new Wolfenstein game. The last Wolfenstein game that came out was a collection of I think New Colossus, New Order, and Youngblood. I think, and it was called like the Old Collection or something. It was really weird. I don't know. I didn't like really research that because it was basically a collection, but we'll get into that near the end of the video. But I just wanted to throw that in there right now, just so I didn't forget to mention it because I didn't write it down because it's not technically a game that I want to talk about. But I'm gonna go all the way back to Wolfenstein's humble beginnings back in 1981 with the first game, which a lot of people probably aren't familiar with these first two games. Uh, Chaos of Wolfenstein in 1981 came out on the Apple II, the PC, the Commodore 64, and the Atari 8-bit, and that was like a top-down like action game. It wasn't a FPS game. It's very weird. If I feel like it, I'll put up some short little blurbs of gameplay from other channels. I'll be sure to credit them when I do, because I don't want them to get mad and copyright strike me. But I'll probably put up some gameplay of the games you guys aren't familiar with, like these two. Um, and beyond Castle Wolfenstein, basically the same kind of game. Came out in 1984. Same platforms as above: Apple II, PC, C64, Atari 8-bit. And then the one everyone's familiar with, Wolfenstein 3D, and then the same year Wolfenstein 3D Spear of Destiny came out in 1992. I messed up the year. I had to rewrite it. I scribbled it out and rewrote it. So that's why I was like, did I get that right? Yeah, 1992. It pretty much got ported to oblivion, like PC, uh, PS3, Steam. Like it's pretty much everywhere. You can play Wolfenstein 3D on pretty much any platform. Atari Jaguar CD, which I've heard that version sucks, but it's pretty much on every platform you can think of. Um, Modern day, besides Switch, which I wish they would do a port of that to the Switch, but I'm gonna focus a little bit on Wolfenstein 3D since I kind of have a history with that game a little bit. Um, because I remember back in the day when we got our first computer back in like 95, 96. I was like 5, maybe 6 years old when we got Wolfenstein. My dad had brought it home from a guy at work. It was like a weird modded version of the game, but we thought it was like the legitimate version of the game, but it wasn't. For years we thought it was. But then years later when the Game Boy Advance port came out, I played it, I was like, this isn't like the version we played. That's when I looked into it, I was like, oh, it's a mod. I still like that mod, and if you guys want to see that mod, I still have it. So if you guys want to see that, and would want to see a playthrough of it, let me know and I'll do a playthrough of it, or maybe a live stream or something like that of it at some point. I think I did talk about it a little bit on my first channel, like my Super Metroid Lover channel, which a lot of you guys probably don't remember that channel, but I know I talked about it on there. But it was a really interesting port or mod port, whatever. And we enjoyed that one, and I do enjoy the original one too, because I have since played through and beaten the original version of Wolfenstein 3D. And Spear of Destiny is pretty much an expansion to that. It's got like 20 extra floors, I think, and you're basically getting the Spear of Destiny. Yes, you actually pick it up, and yes, like you see BJ running across, and he's like, "Yeah," and he holds up the spear. Basically, the same ending, but he's like holding the Spear of Destiny. It's kind of weird that they did that, but they did. But it's a good little add-on if you can find it. It's pretty easy to find like these games to download. I even think there is Spear of Destiny on Steam. I know Wolfenstein 3 is. I'm pretty sure Spear is bundled with it. I think because I know back in the late to mid '90s, they bundled it in CD-ROM form with Spear of Destiny. So I want to pick that version up to have like a physical copy of it eventually, but I don't have it yet. But anyway, I'm gonna move on to the next game here, which is Return to Castle Wolfenstein. It came out in 2001 on the PC, PS2, Xbox. But the thing is about the blah, 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 the PC version, it's completely different than the PS2 version because the PS2 version actually had a different name to it. It was called Return to Castle Wolfenstein Operation Resurrection. That's the one I'm more familiar with. So I'm not too familiar with the PC version of R R T RTCW. So I'm not too familiar with it. But if someone is familiar with both versions, let me know how different the versions are because I've heard they have different levels and kind of a different story. And I just want to know if it's like worth playing Return to Castle Wolfenstein on PC or if playing the PS2 version is like pretty much good enough. Because like I said, I have played the PS2 version, but I do have the PC version on Steam. I just haven't played it. I got it when it was when it was on sale for like $1 or $2 or something like that. So I've had it for a while, but it never like fired it up for like less than like a half hour. So I haven't really played much of it. But then we got in the same year we got Enemy Territory, which was the online multiplayer version of Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I never played that at all because I had never had a gaming PC back then, so I never had the luxury of playing that game. And I believe it came out on Xbox as well. I didn't write it down for sure, but I'm almost positive it came out on Xbox. Um, so yeah, that's weird. They kind of did like a weird pseudo expansion to Return as well. But then we had to wait 8 years for another Wolfenstein, and this one was just called Wolfenstein 2009. That's what people call it because that's the year it came out in. It was just called Wolfenstein, but I think I remember hearing back when it was coming out that it was like working title was Return to Castle Wolfenstein 2 because it's like a direct sequel to that. So that came out in 2009. I really enjoyed that game on the PS3, and it also came out on the Xbox 360 and the PC as well. I actually do have it on a PC as well, which is kind of uncommon because it only came out physically. Um, it hasn't been re-released on Steam as far as I know, and I wish it would because it's actually a really good game. It's got a decent story to it, with the Kryzov Circle and all the little gem crystals you have to get and use, like to stop time to go through certain walls and stuff. It's a really neat um, spin on Wolfenstein. I really enjoy that game. and I wouldn't mind playing through it again sometime. So look out for the future. I might stream that at some point because I really did like that game a lot. So um, yeah, so that came out in 2009, and then the, I had to rewrite the the um what I wrote here because I I messed up and wrote Wolfenstein New Order first instead of Old Blood. Old Blood. All right, so post production me here. I realized I messed up with the years of Old Blood and New Order. New Order came out before Old Blood. Old Blood was a prequel game, but Old Blood came out in, let me check again, in 2015, and New Order came out in 2014. Either years flipped, but at least I caught it. So, my bad. But back to the video. I'm still going to show the um, videos in order of what I said, but I'm going to just put that in there just so you guys know. Again, my bad, but at least I caught it. And New Order came out in 2015. Old Blood was kind of a precursor to New Order, but it was like it was kind of like from what I remember. I played it a long time ago. Um, and I only played through it once. And from what I remember, it was like a precursor to New Order, but it was like before New Order, but it was like during during a point in the Wolfenstein story. I really don't remember when, but I remember it being pretty good, and I need to play through it again because I really don't remember it that well. But I do remember New Order because I really enjoyed that game a lot. Um, and I actually did start streaming that, like, because I didn't play it till around 2017, probably around the time the GoFundMe stuff was happening. Because right before that stuff started happening, I was playing through it by myself because, like, just on my own time because I never thought about streaming it because I was like, what's the point? And I really didn't think um, using GeForce Experience Shadowplay would work good, but it worked decently well, and it's since gotten better since then. But I I did play through like the latter half of the game on my channel, so if you guys want to check it out, go check it out. It's a really fun playthrough. I had a blast doing it. The last boss music is like super epic though. I just like the heavy metal grunges, guitar riffs, and the epicness of the music. You guys can go watch that and watch me fail at Wolfenstein New Order. Then in um then in then in 2017, which when it came out, I I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered the collector's edition actually. So I got like a I think I had like a physical. I think there was either a code or a physical disc. I don't remember. I think it was a code, but I have a little BJ figure, so it's kind of cool. But Wolfenstein 2 came out, New Colossus, and I streamed that game in its entirety on my channel. I do remember doing that because that was really fun, and I enjoyed it. Um, I actually enjoyed the game a lot. A lot of people didn't, and I don't know why because I thought it was really cool, especially the beginning part of the game when BJ's like in a wheelchair and like just rolling around in this manual wheelchair, just with a freaking like Uzi, just shooting Nazis and whatever. Like it's so weird to see someone like disabled, just like mowing down Nazis one hand is just rolling along, just one handed shooting a freaking machine gun. It's so weird, um, and I really enjoyed that part of the game. And then when he got the spoiler, but he gets a you have the choice to like get a whole like two different metal bodies to where you can like walk around, and you eventually get your head cut off from that body, and then your head gets grafted onto like a new body, which is weird because it's like not his body, but it's like someone else's body, but it's his mind, his brain controlling that body. So it's weird, but I think that's what people don't like. Right? It was just so weird, and fantastical, and weird. But on the weird plus side, you get to see Hitler and like he's all disheveled and dying, and it's like really weird to see Hitler like alive and not like dead from suicide. So it was a really weird thing to like see like an older Hitler that never got to be besides in that universe. So that was kind of a weird thing. Sadly, you couldn't shoot him. I wish they would have let you do that, but sadly you couldn't. You were at that point in the game. You were being interrogated by Nazis. You had to escape the interrogation room and whatever, or something like that. I don't remember exactly. It's been a while since I played through the game, but I wound up beating the game and loved it. I bought all the DLC for it, beat all the DLC for it. The DLC was really cool too. Different characters. Um, what was the one called where you played as that female spy lady? I don't remember what titles of them were called, but they're definitely worth checking out. The DLC is really cool. But that game itself is really good. I think it gets overlooked a little bit. But I really enjoyed it, and I know you guys will probably enjoy watching me play through the DLC and the game itself. I know the game had like issues with like freezing back then, so there's a lot of that in there. So I apologize for that. There's nothing I can do about that because there was like issues that had to be patched out. So and plus my PC build back then was not the greatest, not like it is now. So um, yeah, I kind of had a little bit of a hiccup with that, but it's okay, whatever. I played through it. It was cool. I loved it. I loved it so much. I bought it on the Switch, but I sadly never finished it because it disappointed me because they weren't gonna port the DLC to the Switch version, which I was like, then why even release the game in the first place? Like the DLC was like really cool and really fun. I enjoyed the DLC because I bought it thinking they would eventually like port it and I could just rebuy it again. I wouldn't have minded, but they didn't. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna bother playing through it because if they're not gonna support it fully, then I'm not gonna play through it. Now, eventually, I might go back to it, but I haven't played it in forever. But it is a really good port of the game. Of course, it's like 30 FPS, and the graphics aren't as good, but it plays really well for being on the Switch. It's like Doom and Doom Eternal does as well. I can't speak for Doom Eternal, but I can speak for Doom. Doom does play just as good as um, Wolfenstein 2. Because Panic Button did a really good job of porting those games over. Not to get off on a tangent here, but the last games, I guess, because there's kind of a tying game to it that I'm not familiar with, but it's there, and it sucked really bad because I looked into it. It was very bad, and it wasn't very good. Just like the game itself, the main game itself, and that's Wolfenstein Youngblood in 2019. And now that I don't need my notes anymore, I can put them down. Um, so Wolfenstein Youngblood is interesting. I was so hyped about this game. I pre-ordered it. I was like, holy crap, Patreon supporters, can I please pre-order this game? Because I want to play through it on my channel. And they were all like, cool, whatever, pre-order it. We'll watch you play it. So I pre-ordered it. The day it came. It it went live around like 2 or 3 in the morning. I started playing through it. I was kind of enjoying it a little bit, but then as they started to like develop the characters, because the characters in the game are BJ's daughters, and I don't remember the names. One of them's like Sophie, and the other one's like something else. I don't remember the other one's name, but they're both like 15, 16 years old, I think. And the one's like this super like high energy, like typical like badass, kind of like your dad. Like, oh, I want to stop the Nazis, blah 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 blah, shoot Nazis, blah blah blah, blah all this other stuff. The other sister is like really timid and like shy and doesn't want to like fight the war because it takes place in the 80s. There's a lot of 80s references in the game, so that's kind of weird. But the thing about the game I didn't like a lot was the fact that every time you killed a Nazi or did something or killed someone or killed something, the sister you're playing as would be like, yeah, forget it. They'd always like celebrate every time. And I'm like, okay, is this really necessary? Like it was just so detracting from the game. Like it got annoying to me that every time you shoot something or shoot someone, she always had to like interject commentary over it. And it was like this isn't needed. Like I don't need her celebrating every time I shoot someone in the head. Like it was really weird and really awkward. I didn't. It was kind of distasteful. Yes, it's Nazis, but still, like it kind of seemed like the character was like desensitized to killing people, which is kind of bad. But like the other sister was kind of timid, like I said, because every time she would kill something, she would like either vomit or like go off and like cry. Someone like I can't do this, and I'm like, what is going on with this game? And I'm like, okay, I get it. The one sister doesn't like to kill things, the other one does. But do we have to like have the characters actually like be that way while you're playing the game? Can't we have that like a scene structure to where like you can see the one sister celebrating and the other sister like struggling with the fact that she's having to kill people constantly? But no, that's not how it was. It was like constantly every time you kill something, it's like celebratory. I'm like, okay, this is really annoying. But that's not what killed it for me. What killed the game for me was its kind of mandatory co-op. And by what I mean by kind of is basically you have to play with either the AI or another person. And the thing I hated about it was okay, let's say you're getting shot up and you're because there's a mechanic in the game where if you're at low health and you get shot down, you can be revived by your sister. She'll like give you a health back or just like revive you in general, and you'll have like 10 or 20% health or something like that. I don't really remember, but I remember it worked kind of that way. Um, but you could get revived. The problem was they might have fixed this in patches. I have no idea. But the problem was that I had with it is that the AI would barely ever heal you. They would just run off and be shooting whatever, or just like run off and do whatever. And I'm like, hello, I'm down here like waiting to get revived, dying. Can you help me, like, get me up and revive me? But if they don't, it eventually times out and you fail the mission. You have to start over, like a checkpoint or the entire mission, depending on if you made it to a checkpoint or not. The thing that saved it for me, but it's not enough to like want to play through it, because what I might do is I might start it over and just try to play through a co-op all the way through with somebody, because that's the way you want to play it, with a human character and a human player. Because like if if you can play it with somebody, do that, because you can communicate with them and tell them like, hey, I'm getting shot up, I'm getting destroyed by this thing, and I'm on the ground. Can you come revive me? And they can hear you. Like if you have a headset or microphone, they can hear you and they'll come running to you. Your partner will. So that's really cool. I did like that aspect, and the other kind of gimmick they had with it. Because when the game came out, they had a thing called the Buddy Pass that you could buy for like $20 extra. You could give it to a friend, and then the friend could download like the buddy version of the game. But the caveat to that was you had to have the game and you had to invite your friend, and the only way your friend could play the game is if you invited them to a co-op game. It was kind of weird, but it's also kind of cool at the same time, because you could play through the game co-op, which playing through the game co-op I think would be the best way to play the game. It I honestly still don't think that saves the game though, because the character development is just so wonky and so out of place, and it's just really weird. And I don't know. I really didn't enjoy the game, and I always felt bad about it not finishing the game. But I did a video talking about why I didn't, so I'm pretty sure people understood why I didn't. But to end this video off, and well, before I go there, I want to briefly mention that the I don't even know what to call it. It was like a side game or something called Wolfenstein Cyberpilot. It was like part of the Youngblood game, but it was like you were like in a mech or something. I'm not even sure what it was. I know it wasn't that popular because no one ever talked about it, so I'm not sure what it is. I'll probably throw up some gameplay of it if I can find some. So, um, yeah, there was that. But to end all this video, I want to talk about where I think the series could go from here. Do I think they should make a new Wolfenstein game? No, I don't. And I only say that because there's really not much else they can do with Wolfenstein. Like they've pretty much done every conceivable story with BJ Blazkowicz they can think of. Now, what they could do is like do a reboot of the series with another person, but to me, Wolfenstein is always BJ Blazkowicz. It's not like or or hell, even his kids or whatever, I guess. But like, it's still the Blazkowicz line of like the family bloodline. That's why it's called Young Blood for the last game. But I don't think a reboot or a like a reboot or a soft reboot or whatever is what it needs. I just think Wolfenstein needs to be what it is. Like people know Wolfenstein as Wolfenstein 3D and like Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and then every other game after that is like another Wolfenstein. But those are the two main games people think of when they think of Wolfenstein, and that's what I think they need to do next. Is release just like a Wolfenstein collection for like PS4, PS5, the Xbox Series consoles, the Switch. Just release like Wolfenstein 3D, like even put some of the ports on there of like Wolfenstein 3D, like the Super Nintendo port. Maybe the I'm trying to think of maybe the Jaguar CD port, even though it is kind of wonky, but I think that'd be interesting. Maybe play Castle Wolfenstein and Beyond Castle Wolfenstein too, because I've never played those. I have no interest in trying to download them and run them through DOSBox, but I'd play them on a collection just to see where Wolfenstein got its start. But I think that's where it needs to go. Is like some kind of Wolfenstein compendium collection or whatever you want to call it. Like remaster Wolfenstein 2009, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, and I guess remaster the other ones if you want a little bit. Like give them like 4K visuals if you can or something. But I think that's where it needs to go. And it's sad to see Wolfenstein not be around as much because I know Bethesda owns Wolfenstein, Microsoft, Xbox bought Bethesda, but I'm pretty sure part of the deal was that they would still release games to other consoles, at least for now. I think maybe I don't know. Maybe there's like time exclusivity. I don't know. I haven't really looked into the Bethesda deal too much. I know the Activision Blizzard deal. Not to go off on a tangent here with this video, but I know that deal had some kind of like contingency to it, where they had to release like Call of Duties on other consoles. So I would assume it wouldn't just be a PC and Xbox exclusive, but if it is, that's fine because I have a PC anyway. But that's where I see Wolfenstein going next. Is like a collection of sorts, one that's actually a comprehensive collection. That's what I think needs to happen. But will it happen? Probably not, sadly, but you never know. It could. But let me know what you guys think about Wolfenstein as a whole. What was your favorite Wolfenstein game? Is there games I should go back and replay and revisit? Should I try to play Youngblood again? Let me know in the comments below if it's actually a decent game, if they've fixed some things with the AI and stuff. Let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you, patrons and supporters, for supporting the channel. Your names are scrolling across the screen right now. If you want to support me on Patreon, it's only $1 a month. It really helps the channel a lot. And I really appreciate you guys checking out this video. And I know it was kind of a long one, but I want to talk about some Wolfenstein because it's a series that I hold near and dear to my heart. I grew up playing the game, so I want to do a video talking about it. Next, I'll probably do a video talking about, I don't know, another weirdly obscure FPS game that I think needs a bit of a resurgence. But that's for another video. We'll see how this one does first, and then I'll judge if I want to do a video on that as well. Because that one won't nearly be as long, but it'll still be interesting. But let me know what you guys think about this video and about what all I covered and talked about. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Peace out.